Hello and welcome to another episode of Motors for the Masses, and this week we're having a look at three retro scramblers that we've looked at before, but now with three very different dresses on. So roll the new intro and let's get cracking. All these bikes come with the same single-cylinder 11.5 horsepower engine, 5-speed gearbox, and they are fuel injection. What are they? Well, you can see on the tank that it says Bullit motorcycles, but what Bullit is it? Have you guessed yet? Yes, of course, it's the Bullit Hero, but in three very different guises, like we said at the beginning of this video. You've got the Bullit Hero Titanium Edition, you've got the Bullit Hero Bianco. To you and me, that's the Martini one, but you're not allowed to say that because they don't have the sponsorship. However, you do have the sponsorship from Gulf, and this is the special edition Gulf Bullit Hero. Now, you may think they're the same bike, but there are some differences, and we're going to talk about those differences in a minute. One being that they are limited edition. See that plaque on there? It's got a number, which means there's only a few being made. So they're actually making 100 Bullit Spirits in the Gulf colours and 100 Bullit Heroes in the Gulf colours. And one difference you'll notice is perhaps the tyres. The Titanium Edition and the Bianco, the original bikes, come with a Kingstone 4.1 by 18 tyre, whereas the Gulf bike has Michelin's on it, so that is a 110/80/18 on the front. They come with a 210mm rear disc and a 275mm front disc. Now that is something that stays the same all across the board. However, they do have a bit of a difference on the rear tyre. So I'm hoping you can see the difference in the thickness of the rear tyre. Now, like I said, this is a Michelin and those two are the Kingstones. These are a 4.6 by 17 rear tyre, Kingstone, and this is a 130/80/17 tyre on the back. And I think it looks just that much chunkier, and it makes one hell of a difference to the look of the back of this bike. That, I think, is fantastic. What you also notice is the difference in the tread. Now, these have a very knobbly off-road tread, both these. This one sort of is nicely angled towards the front of the bike, and these shoulders are not quite as high as they are on here. So this should make for a nice, smoother ride on cornering, and we'll find that out in a minute. Another difference is the headlights. That one has a very clear headlight, and these two have the old style crossed headlights, as you can see here. I quite like them, but I really do prefer this. It looks very crystal clear. So the lights at the back are also different. The original Titanium and the Bianco have the oval crystal light, whereas the Gulf has the round light. I'm not sure which one I like best, to be honest. I like them all. One thing you also notice is the seat height. Now this one has a seat height slightly larger by the looks of it than this one, and the Gulf has a slightly lower seat height. However, they are adjustable between 860mm and 910mm. There's also a difference in design. You've got the standard seat here, which is all very nice, but this one has the old mottled look. And I really do like that. Looks more expensive. There's also a difference in the dash design. You've got the standard clock on that one and on the Bianco, but they've moved it around on here because you don't have that front bracket. So it's slightly higher, with the key barrel being on the other side of the Speedo. So before we take these bikes outside and see what they do on corners, let's have a listen and see whether the exhaust is any different. Now, hopefully you heard on that video there that this one is actually the quietest sounding. Now, I think it's because of the plates. Now, these plates, there's quite a lot of them, and they're compacted together, and it seems to soften the sound. This one has the same amount of plates than this one does, being the same sort of model, but they're slightly further apart. And as you heard, it makes it a bit louder. Now, the Golf Edition has about 2/3 of the plates that these two have, but they are quite compacted. And it still sounds just as loud as the Bianco. I think if those plates were widened like the Bianco, that would sound epic. For now, I think I prefer this one, and it's only because it's as loud as the Golf, but just a little bit deeper. I'd be quite keen to know what that one sounds like with the plates widened. And no, we're not doing it, because for now, it sounds good enough. They also all have the same combined braking system. That one and that one and that one are all the same. But we're hoping these tyres are going to make that big difference on stopping and cornering. Let's just get them outside and find out. Well, I'm happy to report that these tyres do actually make quite a bit of difference. These held the road perfectly well, but there was a little bit of uneasiness when you're putting on the edge of these knobbles, whereas this one really held the corners fantastically. Those tyres really do make a difference. So there you go, there are your three options. Now, it does make a difference when it comes to price. The Titanium and the Bianco on the road are £2,699. An absolute bargain for one hell of a bike. The Golf Edition, now remember, this is number 32, the one we have here, of 100, and that one comes to you on the road at £3,299. So there are your options. I absolutely love them, and I adore this Golf Edition. As you know, we're doing the Golf colours on the FB Mondial that I have. So I'm a bit partial to a Golf bike. But there you go, there's your options. Which ones do you prefer? Please let us know in the comments below whether you like them or not. Whether you prefer that, whether you prefer the Bianco, or if you want to spend the extra money and get the special edition Golf. Perhaps you've got one on order. Let us know that too. And that brings us to the end of this episode of Motors for the Masses. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back next time when we'll be back with Project Bob. We've also got a GT125 Royal Alloy versus a Lambretta, the new V125 Special. That's coming up in a video soon. We're also back with the Benelli 502C. That's also coming. And also we're back with Project Bob, like I said before, and Project Mac, the Mach 1 Mustang, and Malcolm's Cortina, and lots of other stuff. So until next time, please ride and drive carefully, but have fun. Bye-bye.